Hello and good afternoon. My name is Martin Coward, and welcome to Noonday Meditation and Contemplative Prayer Power Hour. And boy, am I grateful for you today. I am feeling so heartbroken and sad for ourselves and our country right now. It's hard for me to even sit still at times. How are you feeling today? I've certainly have been reading all of the various uh, comments on Facebook and responding to others, and there's a whole cornucopia of feelings uh, and resentment going on. And I have to be really honest and say that this morning when I got up, I wasn't feeling like doing any kind of contemplative power work or anything like that. I was angry. I woke up angry with uh, with the world and disappointed, and I was in tremendous resistance to my morning power hour, my morning prayer, because my ego, it wanted to hold on to its victimhood this morning, because it was like all those red states, all those people, it was just in a place of blame and anger and frustration. That was my beginning of the day. How about you? How was your beginning of the day? Please comment. I don't want to just run a dialogue today. I want people to comment on things and join me in this conversation. Because what I did was I've been doing this practice for a long time, and I know my ego is not smart, but it's clever. And so it had me this morning. It did. And I just went through the resistance. I accepted the resistance, really, and said, I'm going to accept this resistance, and I'm going to, oh, there's my friend. Welcome. I'm so glad you're here. I can use your love and support today. Welcome. We in this country this was not the exciting surprise we wanted to see this morning in our country today. Um, and we're trying. I'm trying to make sense of it in some way. And yeah, and that's what I understand that. And then I wonder which part of me is generally angry at humanity, and it's my humanity side. It's the human side because I'm angry at myself, really. Um, so thank you for acknowledging that. That is the when you can acknowledge that truth. Like I acknowledge the truth when I woke up friggin' angry this morning. When you can acknowledge that truth, then you begin to heal. And that's exactly what I did this morning. As I got my morning power hour is always about the same. I get up and early if I can, and got up a little later today than normally. I just didn't want to get out of bed. I was just just too irritated, I guess. Um, but the first part and the hardest part was not to look at my Facebook or my smartphone. Although I did take a quick peek to see kind of what happened, but not to get pulled into it and then go get myself a cup of coffee and just sit out here on my porch and just welcome the day and wake up with the day. And as I began to do that, as I began to waken up and try to get comfortable in my skin, I just realized I'm just so uncomfortable. This is so fearful and so upsetting that I was just uncomfortable sitting in my skin. And I did it anyway. I sat in that uncomfortable paradox of the fear of the unknown and the love of love, the love of life, really. And that's the paradox we sit in, and that's what makes you angry with humanity is that that's the shadow behavior that comes from your love for humanity. So when we can transcend the shadow, we can sit in that discomfort, if you will, of um, of anger and frustration, then we can hello. Thank you for joining me today. Glad you're here. Safur, did I say your name correctly? We're just talking about how we're feeling today, and I'm feeling heartbroken because what I realized when I sat in that anger at humanity, if you will, welcome, as I sat in that in my meditation this morning and began to feel what am I feeling, and I have a mantra that says, "Don't think it, feel it, feel it." What are you feeling? And as I felt deeper inside myself, I realized that I really do care about people. I really care, and what I'm so sad about is that I care about the people in those that blanket of red states. I care about those people because they're my brothers and my sisters, and I love them. So by that sitting in a place of yes, I get we are disappointed. We are all disappointed, but let's try not to stay. We all learn from challenges. I thought we were trying to get out of this darkness, but we seem to have gone deeper into it for whatever reason. I don't know. Um, and there's my dear friend Audrey. Hey, Audrey, it's always a joy to see you. I feel better knowing you're here. Just your presence and your big heart and your love is always a welcome part of my day. It's one reason why I do this is that I do this because I need the love and support, and I think others do too. And I'm sure today people are feeling disappointed and sad and upset, angry, whatever they're feeling. And on both sides. But I was saying earlier, once I began to go down and once I in my meditation practice this morning, when I went deeper inside myself, I realized that what was behind all my anger and frustration and sadness was a deep love for my brothers and sisters. And I came to the realization that they're in fear. I mean, I've done enough shadow work that I know that um, when I'm in fear and when people are in fear, it kind of cuts off other parts of our operating system. We can't, we don't, we're just trying to protect ourselves. And the fear is of, hey, Mindy, how you doing today? Nice to see you here. I need your love and support. Um, how you feeling today? Audrey, how you feeling? There's no right or wrong way to feel. Whatever you're feeling, just put it out here, and they're all welcome. If you've gotten to the place where you're feeling a sense of joy, wonderful. You've transcended all of this drama into a place of joy and gratitude, which I've gotten to as well, by the way, because I've been a spiritual person or a mystic for a long time, and I realized that there's something bigger than all this drama living through me, and that's exciting, and that's joy, and that's I call joy the wise woman. But um, I know that that's consistent. My moods and my anger and my frustration is inconsistent. It's temporary and necessary. It's necessary to as a something for me to bounce off of. That's a good way of putting it. My mind is clear. My body feels like it was beaten. Yeah, it does feel like it. I got that. I've been dealing with some lower back pain lately for some reason. I'm sitting on a hot pad now. And I just wonder if it's not been anxiety sort of manifesting in my lower back. I haven't been able to do much yoga. So yeah, I feel really beaten up at a human level. Um, and um, and the way for me to move through this is to get to the truth. What's really, really, really true. Um, and I think what we need to do is what became obvious to me is we need to, maybe the way this is coming about is the fact that we need in some way stop and listen to each other. Because the story I make up when I was so angry this morning is all those people in those red spaces, they don't care about me or themselves, or they wouldn't be following this guy who is leading our country through this destruction and crisis. That's my mind. Like, why would any human being? Because they're in fear. When you're in fear, you don't think rationally. You don't think thoughts of love and compassion because you're in fear. So that's what I began to see is that people are in fear. Both sides, by the way, are in fear this morning. So my purpose today is to try to shift that fear into love. How do we shift the fear into love? One way is to be grateful. Be grateful for our system and be grateful for all the people who are working right now to protect our votes. And be grateful because we don't know what the outcome is yet. We don't know. So we want to, but the ego wants to project the worst thing, by the way. The darkness wants to project the darkness. And so we want to, for our own personal betterment, if you will, lack of a better word, we need to let go of that and we need to transcend that in a way that we can love ourselves and have compassion for that part of ourselves that does feel sadness, and some compassion for ourselves that feels anger, and particularly compassion for others who might be in fear and darkness. Because I can tell you something, behind every single person you think doesn't like you, that you think's your bully or you think's, there's a scared or loving little boy or girl in there that's afraid and that cares and that does care about you and does care about their family. And for different reasons, they've been led into believe that this Donald Trump is going to protect them. And I think that's what makes me so heartbroken because the truth is he's not going to help them. But when you're in that darkness, you can't see that. So we don't blame the darkness for being dark. Instead, we open our hearts and we listen with compassion to find out the truth of who they are. And they're not fear, they're love, just like you and me. And maybe that's in some strange, mysterious way that's well beyond my understanding, is the Divine Mother's way of pulling us together. But I think that is the bigger picture. We, I think it is the bigger picture. What I think about the future of the United States, I think that we. Sorry about that. I'm not quite sure what happened. Since I clicked the wrong button and I go away, my apologies. What do you think about the future of the U.S.? What's going on? I think that the future of the United States and everything is that love and prosperity will prevail. Right now, we're living in a real dark spot. This is called, I would say, it's a collective dark night of the soul. We're all in it together, and we've got to make space for each other. That's what I think we got to do. Is we got to make space. Those of us that are awake to the truth have got to make space for those who have yet to awaken. And the way we do that is by listening with an open heart to help them find the truth of who they are. And that's why I do this, because people come here every day are the ones that are already in that have this understanding. But if we as a group can begin to raise our consciousness to higher levels of love, then our power and our vibrational level comes up and we become bright lights to the darkness. And that's how we do it. And that's how we create a bright future. I think it was Gandhi who said, be a demonstration of what you want the world to be. If you want to be the world, be a place of love and peace, be love and peace. Uh, if you want to be a world of peace of love and gratitude, be love and gratitude. That's my mantra. My mission in the world is to create a world of, I am creating a world of love and abundance. I'm sorry, I'm creating a world, I am that too, but I'm creating a world of prosperity and abundance by simply showing up with love and gratitude in the moment, and having a practice of that. Um, so that I'm in alignment with the truth of the universe. The universe is the creative force of the universe is unconditional love. And when we can align ourselves with that, then we're going to be living in peace. And one way we can align ourselves in that is to shine our light on the darkness. There's a lot of darkness right now. There's a lot of darkness right now. Well, thank you. That's the point. Touch your heart. Your listening touches my heart. That's the reciprocity of love. That is a conversation of listening to understand each other. That is exactly what this is. And and I think the reason you can say that, one of the reasons I think you can say that, a lot of reasons with it, is that my heart is speaking to you, and your heart is listening to me, and we are having a heart-to-heart conversation, and that feels good, doesn't it? Because when we have a heart-to-heart conversation, even if we don't agree, that's the thing. If we can get to the point where we can get through what we disagree about to the common thread of the love that we are, we've had a transformational change. We've created a shift. So that's it. Our speech, my conversation is touching your heart, and your heart's listening is touching my heart, and that's a beautiful reciprocity of love. Audrey, tell me how you're feeling today. You beautiful young woman, how are you feeling today? Curious to know how you're doing. We just have to be careful with that because um, we don't know the direction we're heading in. If you think we're heading in a negative direction, I can assure you it's coming from your ego. If you think we're heading into a dangerous area, if you're predicting negativity in the future, it's not coming from your heart because your heart is creative and it doesn't predict negativity in the future. It only predicts creativity and love, despite its nature. So we have to be careful because that when you say we want to have a role in making other aware of the current direction, we have to make a role of what we're afraid of, and it's not about being complacent. I'm certainly not complacent. I think complacent to mean we put our head in the sand and we pretend like all is okay. It's not okay. We've got a guy leading our country who is lying to our people about the dangers of this virus, and it's growing and multiplying every single day. And that seems to be a direction of that's pretty bad, doesn't it? And so we can wake people up by saying, I care about you, and I don't want you to die. I don't want you to get sick, and I want you to become aware of the fact that this man is not telling you the truth. And he's putting your life at danger. I mean, that's coming from compassion. And you don't have to call him names, and you don't have to say the whole humanity is going down. You can say the truth is, this man has telling is telling you things that are not true. he knows are not true because he's got the scientists telling him what is true, and he's putting your life at risk, and you need to know that, and then you can make a choice whether you want to follow him or not. But we don't know the direction the world's going in. I don't know the directions the world's going in at all. I do know that, except for that, I do know, and I believe, like Martin Luther King, the arc of justice bends forward in our favor. Love and prosperity is where we're going. How much how much darkness we have to go through to get there, that remains to be seen. But I think we all woke up this morning to the realization that we are in a lot more darkness than we realize by our brothers and sisters here in this country. You're welcome. Thank you, Audrey. That's exactly what we're saying. God is in charge. I don't know. That's the same thing I would welcome to Dennis, is that we don't know the direction we're going in. We don't know what this means. I'm doing my best to kind of give you my observation from it from a place of love and place of as a spiritual teacher. But the truth is, I don't know, other than that God makes everything perfectly. Everything unfolds in its own way, and the world is unfolding like a flower. And I imagine when the bud is all tight and all the petals are questioned, they're all pretty uncomfortable in there together. They don't know where this is heading. And we don't know where this is heading either. So we stop, we get still, and we listen for the God within us to share with us and guide us through this. That's the best I got. So thank you for saying that. I say it over and over again. God is in charge. Let go. What we say in 12-step groups is let go, let God. And maybe that's what maybe the serenity prayer might be a good prayer for us today to pray together, uh, as we pray, as we meditate today, um, which is simply, God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, um, the courage to change the things that I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. I'm going to say that one more time. God, grant me the serenity, grant us the serenity to accept the things we cannot change, the courage to change the things we can, and the wisdom to know the difference. I can't think of an any more appropriate prayer than that. From Bangladesh. Welcome from Bangladesh. How are you doing today? And thank you for saying hello. I'm so glad you joined us today from Bangladesh. I love when we get people from all over the world. It gives me a sense of inspiration and hope that people from all over the world care about us Americans. And I'm not sure we always behave in a way out there in the world where we deserve to be cared for, quite frankly, sometimes. Um, but thank you for coming and listening today. I'm glad you're here from Bangladesh. That's a real treat. So should we meditate? I really am just grateful for every single one of you for joining me today, because this is particularly during the COVID-19 where we can't be physically around people. We can in this fear and isolation, we can get lonely, and we can go into despair and depression. Uh, and that's a real thing. A lot of people right now are waking up who have depression, and this has really triggered that depression. And maybe we need to have some love for those people. Maybe people today are waking up so afraid that they've triggered their addictions, and um, who knows? There's all kinds of shadowy behaviors that are painful and hurtful that we do to ourselves during times of fear and scarcity. So let's just have some prayer and some love for those people today too, because that's happening as well. This is a solemn morning for people in America. I think most of us were ready for a lighter day. And what we found out this morning is we're not ready for that yet. There are too many people still in hurt and pain and fear. And we need to open our hearts to them and shine our light on them. That's what I think, what I believe. That's what I'm doing. So let's meditate a little together. Even for me today, my meditation this morning was hard to sit still in my comfort. What I might suggest to you is we're going to raise our arms, but begin to just notice what you're feeling right now. Raise your arms up. Notice what it feels like to have the spirit in your hands. And put them down in your lap now. And begin to let go and soften the brain, soften the mind, soften the fears. Let go of the stories and the projections you may be making about the future. Don't give it meaning. It doesn't mean anything. Any story you make up is a story. So let it go. Consciously let it go. And if a new one comes up, which it will, consciously let it go. Allow these deep, dark fears come to the surface right now if they need to. But don't attach to them. Let them go. Surrender them. One after another after another. And let's dedicate this meditation, this prayer today, to the art of surrendering. Surrendering to God what we do not know and do not understand. And as you quiet the mind, bring your attention to scanning your body for any emotions you might be feeling. If you're feeling anxiety, try not to give it a name. Just what are you feeling right now? Don't worry about what you name it. Just feel whatever you're feeling fully. Fully accepting the feeling and fall more deeply into it. Find the edges of it. Find the center of it. Welcome it. What is it trying to tell you? Feel your way more deeply inside your interior by your current emotional state. And if you can try not to label it, just notice what you're feeling and sit in that feeling and breathe into that feeling. And allow the divine within you to hold you in that feeling and comfort you in that feeling. Allow the sound of the bell and the sound of my voice to wake us up out of any thought trances, any thoughts and stories we may have found ourselves in, and let them go and feel your way deeper within yourself again. Again, allow the sound of the bell and the sound of my voice to wake us up from any stories and thoughts we may have found ourselves, and let them go and fall back into love, fall back into the silence, the sweet, sweet silence of I don't know. One more time, allow the bell and the sound of my voice to wake us up from any thoughts we may have been having, any stories we might have been caught in, and let them go. Just let them go and fall back into love. And that's our final bell. Come back. Hello. Um, well, I don't know what to tell you about the election results. Just is that we've got a lot of people who are still in a lot of fear and pain, and we don't know the results yet. We don't know. We have no final result as of right now. Um, my hope is that when they finish counting the ballots, that there'll be enough ballots to put Joe Biden and Kamala Harris into the White House. That is my hope. Um, and we're still learning. We're still learning. We're in this dark night for maybe this is the beginning of it. I don't know. But I do know that love and prosperity will prevail. And I do know that we'll get through it if we love and take care of each other. That I know. So thank you for coming here today, and because I know many of us in America right now are feeling kind of raw vulnerability right now. And I would imagine that's true for red and blue people. So just have a little compassion for yourself and for others. And may love and prosperity prevail.